Hello and welcome to the Movie Therapy Channel. We are Jim and Sam, and this is the show where we like to give you our rating first and then talk about the things we did and did not like about the movie we just saw. Today's movie is Child's Play. This is the reboot of the iconic 80s slasher horror franchise. So, what did you guys think? Did you see Child's Play? If so, is it a wait for it, see it, or a pass it? We are letting you know in 3, 2, 1.
Wait for it.
I think the discrepancy between me and you is that my favorite genre of 80s horror films comes from the 80s. I love the 80s slasher flicks, and you are very much into your supernatural horror films.
Okay, yeah, I can't argue with that.
Child's Play. First off, I'll just say, let's get into the things that we liked about this film. So, for me, now the thing that I like the most, that I don't know if a lot of people are going to be on board with, is that this is actually a very slow burn of a horror film. And I don't know if you can even call it a horror film. It's more of a thriller. It's not packed with jump scares. Things don't like jump out. There's probably 1 or 2 jump scares in this film. It's very, very restrained for a slasher horror film. My favorite part is that they spend a good amount of time developing Chucky to being a killer doll. And one of my favorite things about this film that goes with the slow burn is that the Chucky character, this doll, is actually a very tragic kind of character. All the things that he does is that he's trying to just please Andy. He's not killing people because he thinks it's the right thing to do to kill people, like he's a murderous evil doll. He's killing and doing evil things because he's trying to make Andy's life better. And it's almost like he starts off with like, I want to be your best friend. It's almost like this tragic fall from grace. It's a dark comedy mixed with a tragedy. And it was very interesting to see, and I'm very glad they went with this route instead of going with like a generic horror slasher film route. Whereas, like, of the 80s iconic reboots that we have gotten, I would say this might be the best one. Because they've rebooted Friday the 13th. I think this is better than that. This is better than Nightmare on Elm Street, hands down. The Thing, let's not even talk about that. Halloween, the one that came out last year, I actually might like this more than Halloween.
I don't remember, I liked it.
No, we liked Halloween. I actually might like this more than last year's Halloween.
I liked Halloween better.
Simply because I felt more, it was like more like a twisted feeling I had with this.
Yeah.
There's times where I actually felt like I was rooting for Chucky, and I felt really weird, like actually rooting for him. Because some of the people he goes after this film are actually like pieces of crap human people.
Yeah.
It's like when he goes after him, you like you almost like want to root for him.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like the tragic fall of Chucky in the film, because you almost root for him from a point, and then it's like he takes it too far. You're like,
why'd you do that?
Now you gotta die. now people gotta take you down. So those are like some of my favorite aspects of this film. What are some of the things that you liked about this film?
I actually really like the kid actors. Like Andy's character was really good. The trio was really cute. Like they were all really silly. I kind of wouldn't have minded the trio being in it a little bit more. I really liked that combination of the 3 of those kids. Like, and in the beginning, they were having a really good time with Chucky. And like training him, and they think it's like all fun and games, and then it like turns very serious for them. They're like, oh crap, what did we do? So I thought I really enjoyed that.
And to your point, one of the things I really liked why Chucky becomes this murderous doll is because Andy and his friends accidentally train him to be this murderous, AI robot.
It's like this 13-year-old's oblivious to what they're doing.
Yeah, they're just like little kids, like teenagers that are, they're watching horror movies with them. They're like, oh, it'd be great if this person was like dead. I wish these people weren't in my life. And Chucky's all like absorbing this, going like, oh, this is all the stuff I need to do. And they're not realizing they're actually training a killer little robot. And then he starts doing all these things that they're actually like taking in. And then when they realize that he's doing the things that they've been talking about and watching, they're like, oh no, we've messed up.
I also thought that the end sequence was really cool. I did really like the last 15 minutes of it.
We'll get into the end sequence in a little bit. You like the end sequence. I was a little iffy on it. But it is cool, but also leans a little bit more into I don't want to get into it right now. But a favorite scene. Do you have a favorite scene?
Probably when the 3 of the trio is like training it.
When they're watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, and but there's like a moment before that the 3 of them
they're in the hallway.
Yeah,
when they first meet.
and they're in the hallway and they're like, oh, this is really cool, and they're teaching him to like swear and stuff, and they're like, why is it doing that? It's not supposed to do that.
Yeah. That is a great scene. Personally, my favorite scene is Chucky's first kill of the film.
Oh yeah,
and I would say first on-screen kill. There is a kill that happens off-screen before we actually see the first on-screen kill. But the first on-screen kill, to me, it leans into the dark humor of the film. And it's like, this one's for Tupac. Again, the lines that Chucky's saying because he's being trained to say these lines when he's doing stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, the film is also not incredibly funny, but there is a dark humor aspect to this. And it is a dark comedy. It's a black comedy at times.
Yeah.
That differentiates it from the original film. The original film wasn't, I don't believe it was as funny as this. I haven't seen it in a while. But this one is very much a tragic, dark comedy. And like that whole scene pretty much encapsulate all the things I liked about the film. And even like the payoff with like the skin on the watermelon in the kids' room was just like, and like the double take.
Yeah.
Like I got a little, I feel almost like sick and morbid, but I almost got like a little laugh out of it. I was almost like, what? But also
it
like
was
in
kind of
this,
funny because it was like, but they put it on in like a funny spin. It wasn't like,
yeah, like when the dude gets is getting murdered, and like you see like a little spoiler. I'm not gonna like ruin who gets murdered, but like when this dude gets murdered, and then like the top of his head gets like chopped.
when it goes on the.
It goes on like a gnome in his yard. Like you see like the top of his hair just like sit on top of a gnome. Like clearly tongue in cheek with a lot of what this film is doing.
Yeah.
So, and I was very on board with it. I also really loved the 80s atmosphere. They use something called haze, which they fill in a lot of the rooms with this haze, and then they put like blue and red lights. And you see like these streaking blues, very sharp reds, sort of adding atmosphere to a scene. So like one of the scenes I really like that really encapsulates this is when the mom takes the Chucky doll, puts it in the closet, and then he's banging on the door, and then Andy wakes up and Andy opens his door, and you see like this blue light coming in from the window, and there's this red light that's encapsulating Chucky's the closet that he's in. Really visually interesting. You know, it's one of the things that I really liked about It Follows was it did something similar.
I like that.
It had a similar visual palette that I really, really like that these films, or at least that, you know, sort of the attention to detail that they paid with this. It's almost like they painted with lights and cameras. And I really like it when they do that with sort of these horror films.
Yeah.
So with all that said, now let's get into things that we didn't like. So what are some things that you didn't like?
I didn't really care for the fact that Chucky was like basically an artificial intelligence that went rogue.
Okay.
Instead of like being demonic like in the other ones.
I would actually, this is the part where we'll disagree.
Yeah, but like that was like kind of a big issue for me.
So I like
I didn't really care for that.
He was essentially an AI that learned how to be a killer. He didn't necessarily want to do that. It was just his programming. He was just sort of, something happens to him, this particular doll, that allows him to learn all this stuff. Pretty much learn everything. And then he takes what he learns and it's just twisted.
Right.
So I like that. As much as the original film is revered amongst the Child's Play fans, I'm glad that they didn't lean into the soul possession aspect of the original Chucky, because that's what it is. It's a serial killer that transfers his soul into the soul of a doll. And then him as a Chucky doll wants to transfer his soul into Andy. So for the 80s, I think that kind of stuff works. You're not going to get audiences to buying that kind of stuff today.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, but...
Also, I loved Mark Hamill as Chucky's voice. Mark Hamill is fantastic as his Chucky. And the thing is, he never gets like evil. His whole time, he's supposed to be like sympathetic.
Yeah.
He's like, can we be friends now, Andy? And he never like ventures down like the, I'm going to kill you like path. It's just always like him sort of being creepy and like understated.
Yeah.
I can understand your point. We did talk about something after the movie where you thought that it was a little bit too slow at times. And I do think that's going to be part of like the sort of the hurdle for some people with this film. That I think some people might get a little bored with this, because the first kill for Chucky probably doesn't come until like halfway through the movie. And they spend that good first half of the film developing the doll.
Yeah.
And Not everyone's going to like that. I personally was into it. I liked it.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that you disliked?
I mean, that was really it. And you basically said it. I just thought it was a little bit slow at sometimes. Like, sometimes I just wasn't super into it. But halfway through to the ending, I did definitely pick up.
When Chucky actually starts letting loose, it gets really fun.
Yeah.
I will say that what I disliked was the ending of this film ventures down small soldier's path that I wasn't 100% on board with.
Explain more. I don't understand.
So the end of the film, it's the warehouse scene. Chucky takes over like all these dolls in the store. I did like the homages to
I see what you're saying.
other horror movies. So like there's like a Leprechaun homage in there. Of course, there's the homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There was another one. I can't quite remember what it was off the top of my head. But
There's like a bear.
the bear, I don't think the bear was really a homage to anything. I haven't seen all the Chucky movies. Maybe it's a homage to one of the other Chucky films. But it did venture down the small soldier's path a little bit for my taste at the end. I think I would have liked it, the ending, a little bit more if it was just Chucky himself going one-on-one with, or like one-on.
He did eventually, though. He did at the very last sequences.
Yeah. But anyways, I mean, that's my one really complaint about the film is I thought the ending was a little like, I did like the final part with the mom, Andy, and Chucky. That part was cool. Just like the drones and stuff I wasn't 100% on board with that.
The neighbor was really cool, the detective.
Yeah.
I like him.
He was good. He's a great actor. He was in Widows, and he plays a bad guy in Widows. He looked
very familiar, but I couldn't remember from where.
That guy's good. He's been in other stuff, but that's the one I really remember him from. So to be able to go from like Widows to this and actually playing like a good guy in this one, he's really good. Also, Aubrey Plaza was really good as the mom.
She's really good, but she also had that like dead inside feel all the time.
She was a little. I don't think she was had that persona. She does have that weirdness to her.
She has like a quirk to her, but like.
But I feel like this is probably the most normal role I've seen her in.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So those are my minor nitpicks.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for me.
That's it for me.
All right, that is it for us. If you like this show, like and subscribe to see more. We've got more coming. I think Annabelle comes out really early next week.
Yep.
We got to get our tickets for that. I think it comes out on Tuesday.
Yeah. I don't know why, but we'll see it Tuesday.
All right. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time, guys.